Hey everyone, Ian King here, editor at Smart Profits Daily. Today I want to talk to you about the biggest evolution in money that we've seen in the last couple centuries. And what's happening right now is that there are central banks around the world looking at digital currency. Now, I'm not talking about cryptocurrency, although I will talk about Bitcoin and why I think this is great for Bitcoin and other crypto assets. What I'm referring to is there are central banks that are trying to get rid of cash in their societies, okay? And they're making these digital currencies as a way that they can easily print it or digitize it, and then also track it. And there's two huge projects that are being looked at right now. One is a lot closer, and the other one was just proposed last week. And the first one I want to talk about is China. So the Chinese yuan, which is the currency in China, is being looked at by the central bank to become digitized. Now you have to understand something about China first and foremost, is that they use mobile payments way more than we do in the United States. I think they're up to about $13 trillion in mobile payments annually, where in the United States, if you look at this chart, we pale in comparison to how much China uses mobile payments. And so it's important really for the government of China, because they are still a communist country, to track its citizens and figure out who's buying what. And that is how their economists set better monetary policy and better understand what's happening in their economy in real time. Now, China is very close to having this central bank digital currency where the central bank issues it and then they can track this currency throughout all their different payment apps that they have, such as WePad or WeChat or Alipay. In the US, we just had a white paper drop last week, which was an outline of what a central bank digital currency will look like. And there was a plan last month in the House that didn't really get too much traction about a digital dollar. Now here's what I find really fascinating about it, because if you have a dollar on you or paper currency, you know you've got old world problems with cash, right? There's this space-time problem. If you want to pay someone that's in a different state or in a different town and you have to pay them in cash, you have to physically be there to pay this person in cash. And on top of that, cash is risky. If you carry a wallet full of cash around, you might get robbed. Whereas if you have a mobile phone, no one can access your bank account unless they hack your phone. So you have the space-time problem, and then also digital cash is just safer and it's just a lot easier to use. And this trend really accelerated in the last couple months because of the coronavirus for a couple of reasons. One, with the coronavirus, you didn't want to use cash because you didn't know that the person that you were giving cash to or the person you were accepting cash from was sick and you had to keep physically distant. So how do you really pay someone in cash if you have to keep 6 feet away from them? The other factor is that we did this huge fiscal stimulus program, okay, where every American got $1,200 in cash. And the problem was, how do we get that money to people? And we also did this paycheck protection program for small businesses. And how do we get those checks to businesses so they can pay their employees? And then we still have a very old system, and it's very archaic, where you got a check from the government and then you had to take your check and you had to physically go to the bank, deposit your stimulus check, and then you could get cash from that and then use it to spend on other things. But what if you needed the money today? I mean, because if you were waiting for a stimulus check, sometimes it took 3 to 4 weeks. So Treasury and Congress right now is looking at this idea that the central bank could just have these dollars that are digital tokens and they could just deposit them into bank accounts. Now you do have direct deposit, but it's still not the same as physical cash. And what I find really fascinating about this, and I think there's going to be a lot of issues in the United States, is that you're opening up a way for the government to actually track what you spend your cash on. If it's not physical, it's digital, it has some type of digital record. And so there's two reasons why I think this is very bullish for Bitcoin. The idea that China is looking at its own digital currency and the United States is also looking at its own digital currency, and why it's good for crypto assets. Well, number one, if we go to a cashless society, in the sense that no one's carrying cash around anymore, everything is paid by online, on your desktop, laptop, computer, or just with a mobile phone that you can swipe. If we go to that type of cashless society, then you take a lot of friction out of converting your digital US dollar currencies or your Chinese yuan into some form of cryptocurrency, okay? Because right now, if you have cash or if you have a bank account, there's still a lot of friction. I mean, maybe not so much in the developed world where we all have bank accounts, but think about the unbanked people around the world that keep cash and they keep it under their mattress or a safe in their home. How do they access crypto assets, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin? Well, they have to get an account and then they have to move money, some form of digital money. But if we get rid of cash altogether, that just takes out one layer of friction for you to go from cash to cryptocurrency. And in fact, there's an app that Square has called Cash App that allows you to take US dollars and swap it for Bitcoin just as easily as a few swipes. So you can go in and out. If you don't like the dollar's value against Bitcoin, you can go buy Bitcoin. If you think Bitcoin is pricey, you can sell Bitcoin and go back to your dollars, just like that. It's so simple. And the other reason why I see central bank currency as being bullish for Bitcoin is that people are going to realize that there is an alternative to their fiat-backed digital currency. And there is a way that they can own something of digital value that only has a limited amount of units out there. So if you think about the US central bank or the Chinese central bank, which have an unlimited ability to just print digital dollars, and without physical cash, they don't even have to use a printing press anymore. You can think about people saying, okay, I want something that has scarcity value, something that equivocates to gold, and I want to own Bitcoin. So I look at gold as being the physical store value for physical cash. But then when you think about digital currencies, you have to have a digital store value to match up to it. And I think that is going to be Bitcoin. I think this is a huge narrative as these central banks roll out these new central bank digital currencies. Keep an eye on that news because China is really pushing for it. And because of that, the US, to stay competitive in the financial markets, has to come up with an alternative to a digital yuan. I think we're going to get a serious plan for the digital dollar by the end of this year, and it's going to be very bullish for alternative cryptocurrencies as well. That's it for me for today. Any questions, hit us up on the comments bar. If you like this video, please be sure to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, well, why haven't you subscribed? Please hit that subscribe button. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.